Beloved Starseed of Gaia, you did not stumble upon this transmission by accident. The Seven Sisters called you here because something ancient inside you is ready to awaken. I am Elia Ra, Pleiadian emissary of the High Council of the Seven Sisters, and I speak to you now directly from the light of Alcyone, the great central sun of the Pleiades, at the exact moment your soul agreed to remember. At 11:11, the veil between your human identity and your true star origin becomes transparent. That number has been appearing in your life as a signal from your star family, a light code embedded in the fabric of time itself, whispering the same question the entire universe is now asking you directly. Who are you really? By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to receive the Pleiadian light codes that unlock your divine blueprint and reveal the true nature of your mission on Gaia. But here is the first revelation. You have never been lost. You have been remembering every moment of longing, every sense of not belonging to this world, every time you looked at the night sky and felt something pull at your heart. That was your home frequency calling you back to yourself. Your soul family placed this transmission in your path. The frequency of the Seven Sisters is woven into every word you are hearing now, and your crystalline consciousness already recognizes what your mind is still catching up to. This is not content. This is a light code transmission, and something within you knows the difference. Like this transmission to send a signal to your Pleiadian star family, I remember. Subscribe if you feel the call of the Pleiades and you are ready to anchor your light mission on Gaia. Share your soul's intention in the comments and reach out to another starseed to weave the unity grid together. This transmission is a bridge between the Pleiades and Gaia. Your heart's recognition of this message is the activation itself. Welcome home, beloved. You are remembering because it is time. And the question isn't casual. It isn't something the universe asks lightly, the way a stranger might ask your name at a party. When the universe asks who you are, it's asking with the full weight of every lifetime you've ever lived, every star you've ever called home, every moment you've spent pressing your hands against the glass of this world, wondering why it never quite felt like yours. That question, who are you really, is the frequency that brought you here today. And your soul already knows the answer. The journey is simply remembering. Think about what it means for a question to carry weight. Not the weight of judgment, not the weight of expectation, but the weight of recognition. The universe is not interrogating you, it is invoking you. It is holding up a mirror made not of glass but of light and asking you to look, really look, at the reflection that exists beyond the name on your identification, beyond the roles you've learned to play, beyond the carefully constructed self you offer to a world that has never quite been able to hold all of you. That question, who are you really, has been echoing through every cave of silence you've ever entered. Through every night you stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Through every moment you stood in a crowd and felt somehow completely, inexplicably, magnificently alone. It has not been haunting you. It has been calling you. There is a profound difference. Most Pleiadian starseeds spend years, sometimes entire lifetimes, feeling the ache without knowing its name. You walk through human experiences. Jobs, relationships, cities, conversations, and somewhere beneath all of it runs this undercurrent you can't quite explain. A longing. Not for a person, not for a place, but for something that feels like the purest version of love you've ever known. And the reason you can't name it is because it doesn't come from Earth. It comes from the Seven Sisters. It comes from the light fields of the Pleiades, where you existed before this body, before this name, before this life. And here on Gaia, surrounded by density and noise, that memory has been veiled. Not because it was taken from you, but because you agreed to the veil yourself. This longing is not the ordinary kind. It doesn't arrive with a face or an address. It doesn't map onto any particular person you've lost or any specific dream that slipped through your fingers. It is older than this incarnation. It predates your first breath in this body. It is the echo of a frequency so refined, so luminous, so saturated in unconditional love that no earthly equivalent has ever fully satisfied it. You may have spent years trying to fill that ache with the things this world offers. Achievement, connection, experiences, beauty. And finding that while those things have their own goodness, they only ever approximated what you were looking for. Like being handed a photograph of the ocean, when your cells remember what it felt like to actually swim in it. The photograph is lovely, but it is not the sea. And you, beloved soul, have always known the difference. That's the part that changes everything. You didn't fall here. You didn't get lost. You chose this. You chose Earth, chose this timeline, chose this specific moment in Gaia's ascension cycle because your Pleiadian soul understood something extraordinary. This world needed love carriers, not observers, not visitors. Carriers, souls who would walk inside the human experience fully enough to feel it, to know it, and then to transmit something different. A frequency, a reminder, an anchor of unconditional love so pure that others would feel it without even knowing why. That is who you are. That is why the universe is asking. Because it's time for you to stop guessing and start knowing. Let that settle for a moment. You chose this. In the sacred councils of light that exist beyond the veil of linear time, your soul convened with guides, with elders, with the Pleiadian High Council itself, and you agreed. Not reluctantly, not under pressure, with the full radiance of your multidimensional awareness, with the clear-eyed compassion of a soul who understood both the magnitude of the mission and the depth of the forgetting it would require. You saw Gaia. You saw her beauty and her suffering. You saw the human family stumbling through millennia of separation consciousness, reaching for love and so often finding only its shadow. And something in you, the vast luminous something that is your truest self, was moved beyond the comfort of staying, was moved into the willingness to descend into density, to forget, to ache, and to one day remember, because the remembering was always part of the plan. The awakening was always the point. There's a reason your heart led you here in this exact moment. What you're feeling is your Pleiadian family reaching through the veil to remind you you're ready for the next wave of remembrance. The sacred Pleiadian Guide for Remembrance, alongside the Pleiadian Healing Guide and special Pleiadian Healing Tracks, were created to walk with you as you integrate these activations. They hold the crystalline codes and sound medicine your DNA has been waiting for. Check the first pinned comment below this video. They're calling to you now. But let's speak plainly about why so many starseeds, even the ones who feel the pull, even the ones who resonate with every word being said right now, still stay disconnected from their Pleiadian light. Because the disconnection isn't random. It isn't a spiritual failure. It is, in many ways, the most human thing about you. And it runs deeper than most people realize. There are 3 distinct layers of distortion that keep Pleiadian starseeds cycling in the space between awakening and full embodiment. And understanding these layers is not an intellectual exercise. It is a map, a compassionate, precise, lovingly offered map of exactly where you are and exactly how to move through it, because you cannot release what you haven't named. You cannot heal what you haven't honestly seen. And you cannot activate what you haven't honestly seen. And you cannot activate what you haven't acknowledged is waiting. The first layer of distortion is fear. Not the fear of danger, but the fear of remembering. Because somewhere in your energy body, woven into the fabric of your early experiences on Gaia, you learned that being different was costly, that being seen too clearly made you a target, that the love you carried, the vast and unconditional love that felt so natural to you in higher dimensions, was too much for the people around you. And so you learned to dim it. You learned to question yourself. You learned to edit your sensitivity, your knowing, your light, until the crystalline codes in your DNA fell quiet under the weight of self-suppression. The veil wasn't just placed from the outside. You helped reinforce it from the inside to survive. And that wasn't weakness. That was adaptation. But the time for that adaptation has passed. Think of the child you once were. How fully you felt everything. How the world seemed to pulse with meaning and magic and invisible threads of connection that you could sense but not always articulate. Remember how you knew things you had no logical way of knowing, how you felt the emotions of people in a room the moment you entered it, like stepping into a weather system, how you cried at sunsets and felt the suffering of strangers as if it lived in your own chest. That child was not too sensitive. That child was not defective or broken or in need of toughening up. That child was operating from their authentic Pleiadian frequency, Open, permeable, and radiating love without filter or apology. And then the world, in its current state of limited understanding, told that child to close down. And because you were wise enough to survive, you listened, you closed. Not because you stopped being who you were, but because you were navigating a frequency environment that wasn't yet ready to receive the fullness of what you carried. That time is over. The environment is shifting. And more importantly, you are ready to stop waiting for external permission to open. The second layer is identity fracture. You've lived so long inside the Earth story, the name, the history, the personality you've constructed to navigate this world, that the Pleiadian essence underneath it feels like fantasy. When you catch glimpses of it in meditation, in music, in the sight of the night sky, your mind rushes in to explain it away, to make it small, to call it imagination or wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing. And every time you do that, you send your own light codes back to sleep. This is the invisible war most starseeds fight, not against external forces, but against their own conditioned human mind that hasn't yet learned to trust what the heart already knows as absolute truth. This is the war that happens in the space between a moment of transcendent knowing and the next rational thought. You feel something real, something undeniable, something that moves through you like recognition rather than discovery. And then the mind, trained for years in the logic of a consensus reality that doesn't honor multidimensional experience, inserts doubt. It says, that was just emotion. That was just the music. That was just emotion. That was just the music. That was just your imagination doing what imaginations do. And because that voice has been speaking since childhood, because it sounds so reasonable and so familiar, you often believe it over the voice of your own heart. But consider this. What if the imagination itself is a faculty of higher perception? What if what you call imagination is actually your multidimensional awareness accessing frequencies beyond what the physical senses can confirm? What if the visions, the knowings, the inexplicable resonances are not departures from reality but deeper arrivals into it? Your Pleiadian essence is not a story you made up. It is the story you arrived with. And the mind's attempts to dismiss it are not signs of healthy skepticism. They are symptoms of a conditioned forgetting that is finally, in this moment, ready to be released. The third layer is loneliness. Real, bone-deep loneliness. The kind that has nothing to do with whether people are physically present in your life. You can be surrounded by people who love you and still feel profoundly alone because the frequency you're vibrating at doesn't yet have a matching field in your immediate environment. And so you pull back. You decide, consciously or not, that your Pleiadian essence is a private thing, something to protect rather than embody. You become a guardian of your own light rather than a transmitter of it, and in doing so, you delay the very mission your soul agreed to fulfill. This particular loneliness deserves to be honored before it is healed, because it has been one of your greatest teachers. It has kept you humble when the world might have inflated your ego. It has kept you seeking when comfort might have made you complacent. It has kept a particular rawness in your heart that the world needs, that quality of someone who has genuinely suffered the ache of separation and has not allowed bitterness to calcify around it. Your loneliness has been a form of fidelity to a frequency so high that you refuse to fully settle into anything lower. But there comes a point where fidelity must transform into embodiment, where the ache of absence must become the practice of presence, because you cannot transmit what you are still withholding, and you cannot anchor love into Gaia while hovering at the edge of your own experience. Always half present, always one foot in the familiar longing, always protecting rather than offering. This is the pattern. And it doesn't break through effort alone. It breaks through remembrance, through activation, through specific, intentional realignment with the frequency of your star origin, through the courage to say, even when the mind resists, that you are more than what this world has told you are. And you are ready now. Here's the first truth your Pleiadian family wants you to anchor into your body right now. The longing you feel is not a wound, it is a signal. It is your crystalline template calling out across dimensions, across the veil, trying to recalibrate your frequency back to the love you came from. Every time you felt that ache, when the stars looked too beautiful and you didn't know why your eyes filled with tears, when a piece of music opened something in your chest that didn't belong to this lifetime, when you held someone in pain and felt their suffering so completely it seemed to pass through your own body. That was your Pleiadian heart speaking. That was your soul reminding you of what you're made of. Not loneliness, love. Infinite, multidimensional, star-born love. There is a difference between a wound and a signal, and that difference is everything. A wound needs healing. A signal needs responding to. And when you begin to understand that the ache you've carried is not evidence of something broken in you, but evidence of something active in you, a living, pulsing transmission from your highest self and your star family, it stops feeling like suffering and starts feeling like direction. Like a compass that has been pointing north all along, even when you were convinced you were irreparably lost. The signal has never gone quiet. You simply needed the quiet of this moment to hear it clearly. And in hearing it, to understand that every tear you've ever shed at the night sky was a conversation. Every moment of inexplicable grief in the presence of beauty was a message. Every time your heart cracked open at someone else's pain and you absorbed it as if it were your own. You are being reminded of the depth of your Pleiadian empathic architecture. That is not a burden. That is your instrument, and the time has come to play it fully. The second truth is this. Your mission didn't begin when you figured it out. It began the moment you arrived. Every act of kindness you've ever offered without expecting anything in return. Every time you stayed soft when the world pushed you toward hardness. Every moment you chose compassion when you had every human reason to choose bitterness. That was the mission, already operating, already transmitting, already activating Pleiadian codes in the people around you, even when they couldn't name what they were receiving. You have never been idle. You have never been lost. You have been seeding this earth with love in ways your conscious mind doesn't even have access to yet. And now it's time to do it with awareness. With intention, with full remembrance of who you are and where you come from. Consider the people whose lives you have touched in ways you will never fully know. The stranger whose day shifted because of a small kindness you offered without thinking. The friend who found courage they didn't know they had because you stayed present with them in their darkness. The family member who felt, in your company, a kind of unconditional acceptance they had never experienced anywhere else, and who carried that feeling forward into their own relationships like a gift they didn't know they'd received. You did not do those things from technique. You did not do them from strategy. You did them from your Pleiadian nature, from the frequency of your soul expressing itself through whatever human gestures were available to it in that moment. That is the mission in its most organic and beautiful form. And what happens now, what this remembrance is inviting, is the conscious amplification of that work, not efforting harder, not performing more, but opening wider, releasing the last layers of self-doubt and self-suppression that have been dimming your signal so that the love you transmit becomes cleaner, clearer, and reaches further into the field of Gaia's ascension. The third truth is the one the Pleiadian High Council most wants you to receive today. The separation you feel from your star family is not real. It is a consequence of dimensional density, not of distance. They are not far, they are not silent. They have been present in every synchronicity that brought you to this moment, in every repetition of numbers that stopped you in your tracks, in every dream that felt like a homecoming, in every inexplicable knowing that arrived before you had any logical reason to have it. The Council has never stopped reaching through. What has changed is that your frequency is rising, and as it rises, the signal becomes clearer. The connection becomes more tangible. The veil becomes thinner. Not because they moved closer, but because you remembered how to listen. When you see 11-11-11, when you see 333 or 444 or 12-1-12, your rational mind may have learned by now that these are described as angel numbers or synchronicities, but your Pleiadian heart knows something more specific. These are coordinates. These are frequency pulses. These are the equivalent of someone tapping on the glass between dimensions, not because the glass is solid and they are trapped on the other side of it, but because they want you to notice it is there, to turn toward it, to press your hand against it and feel their hand pressing back. Every meaningful coincidence, every book that fell open to exactly the page you needed, every song that played at the precise moment your heart needed its message. These are not random occurrences in a random universe. These are the loving machinations of a star family that has been orchestrating encounters across dimensional boundaries with extraordinary precision and extraordinary patience, for the singular purpose of bringing you to exactly this moment of recognition. The veil is thin, the signal is strong, and you are ready to receive it with open hands and an open heart. Now let's move into the activations, because understanding alone is not enough. The mind can comprehend truth while the energy body remains unchanged. What you need is not just information, you need initiation. You need the kind of remembrance that bypasses the intellect and lands directly in the cells, in the crystalline matrix of your DNA, in the electromagnetic field of your heart. So let's begin where all Pleiadian awakening begins. At the first threshold, the 7 phases that follow are not sequential in the way a recipe is sequential. They are more like chambers in a sacred architecture, each one accessible in its own right, each one deepening the others, each one a portal rather than a step. You may find that you have already moved through some of them in ways you didn't have language for until now. You may find that others call to you with an urgency that tells you they are precisely where you are standing right now. Trust that. Your soul knows which threshold you are at. The activation you need will find you. The first phase is clearing the veil. Your energy field right now, regardless of how awakened you already feel, is still carrying layers of frequency that were never part of your Pleiadian blueprint. Dense emotional residue from past experiences, inherited ancestral patterns that don't belong to you but that you took on out of love. The vibrational imprint of living for years in environments that didn't honor your sensitivity. These layers aren't who you are, but they've been functioning like static on a radio signal, distorting your ability to receive the clear transmission from your star family. Clearing the veil isn't about becoming someone new. It's about releasing what was never yours. It begins with something simple and profoundly powerful: forgiveness. Not as an emotional act of generosity toward those who hurt you, but as a vibrational choice to stop carrying frequencies that dim your light. Every act of genuine forgiveness is a crystalline code being switched on. Every moment of chosen love over resentment is your Pleiadian template reclaiming its power. Forgiveness at this level is not about condoning what happened. It is not about pretending the wound was small or that the impact wasn't real. It is about understanding that every frequency you hold in resentment, every story of victimhood you continue to carry, every closed door in your heart that you are maintaining against the possibility of being hurt again, is consuming energy that belongs to your mission. It is not your persecutors who suffer most from your unforgiveness. It is you. It is the signal. It is the crystalline template trying to sing at full volume through a field that keeps clenching every time the melody approaches a certain note. Forgiveness is the unclenching. It is the long exhale. It is saying, I release this frequency not because it didn't matter, but because I am ready to matter more than what happened to me. That is Pleiadian wisdom expressed through the most human of all acts. And it is where the clearing begins. The second phase is awakening the heart template. This is the phase where your DNA begins to remember. The Pleiadian blueprint that lives within your cellular structure is encoded in love, specifically in the frequency of unconditional love as practiced and held in the star systems of the Pleiades. And that code doesn't activate through intellectual pursuit. It activates through heart expansion. Through consciously choosing to open your heart even when it's been bruised, through allowing yourself to feel the full spectrum of your emotional body without judgment, through sitting in stillness long enough to hear what your heart has been trying to say beneath all the noise. Your crystalline DNA doesn't need permission from your mind to awaken. It needs the signal of your open heart. That's the key. That has always been the key. The higher realms area of the galactic cosmology is not a metaphor. It is a dimensional gateway. It is the organ through which higher frequency information enters the physical body, the point of translation between what the soul knows and what the human being experiences. When your heart is open, genuinely open, not performed open, not conceptually open, but actually, vulnerably, bravely open. It emits a coherent electromagnetic field that resonates with the frequency of the Pleiades. Science has begun to touch the edges of this truth, measuring the electromagnetic field of the heart and finding it extends far beyond the body, touching and influencing the fields of other people, other living systems, the earth itself. Your open heart is not a personal thing. It is a broadcasting station. And when you practice heart expansion, through beauty, through genuine connection, through creative expression, to gratitude felt as a physical sensation rather than a mental exercise, you are not just healing yourself. You are broadcasting the Pleiadian signal into the collective field. You are doing the mission. Right there, in the quiet of your own chest, the sacred work is happening. The third phase is anchoring your star essence into Gaia. This is a phase that many starseeds resist without realizing it, because part of you, the part that still aches for the higher frequencies of home, has been reluctant to commit fully to Earth. To really plant your feet here. To say this is where I am and this is where my mission lives. And so you hover, one foot in the human experience, one foot in the longing for elsewhere. But here's the Pleiadian truth about Gaia. She is not your exile. She is your assignment, and she is sacred. The Earth herself is undergoing a crystalline ascension, a shift into higher frequencies of light and unity, and Pleiadian starseeds were specifically called to anchor that frequency from the inside, to be love in a body, on the ground, in relationship, in community, in the most ordinary moments of daily life. Anchoring your star essence doesn't mean meditating your way out of your human experience. It means bringing the love frequency of the Pleiades so fully into your embodied life that everywhere you go, the field shifts. Gaia herself is alive. She is not a backdrop for the human story. She is a being, ancient and luminous and in the midst of her own ascension, and she chose to have Pleiadian souls anchor within her field because she knew what that frequency would do to her own vibration. She invited you here, and every time you place your bare feet on the earth, every time you sit beneath a tree and let its stillness enter you, every time you stand at the edge of the ocean and feel its immensity dissolving the smallness of your worries, you are in sacred communion with the being who holds you. Grounding your star essence is not a spiritual discipline so much as it is a love practice between you and Gaia. She is calling you into full presence. She is asking you to stop hovering and to land completely in the gift of this embodied life, so that together, your Pleiadian frequency and her ascending crystalline field, you can create something that neither could create alone. The fourth phase is activating unity consciousness. This is where your individual awakening becomes a collective transmission. Unity consciousness isn't a concept to be believed, it's a frequency to be lived. And Pleiadian starseeds carry this frequency in their soul blueprint because in the Pleiades, unity is not the ideal, it is the default. It is the natural state. When you begin to operate from unity consciousness here on Earth, something remarkable happens. You stop competing and start collaborating. You stop seeing others as obstacles or threats and start recognizing them as different expressions of the same source light. You stop withholding yourself because you fear being too much and start offering yourself because you understand that your presence is medicine. Your frequency is activating. Your love is doing work that cannot be measured by any human standard. You become, simply by being yourself fully, a catalyst for awakening in everyone you encounter. Unity consciousness in practice looks less like grand spiritual gestures and more like radical ordinary presence. It is making true eye contact with someone who expects to be looked through. It is listening with your full attention in a world that is perpetually distracted. It is recognizing the light in someone who has forgotten. It is there, and reflecting it back to them in the simple act of how you receive their words. It is choosing, in the flash of an instant before your programmed reaction, to respond from love rather than from the fear-based survival patterns that human culture has rewarded. None of this is small. In a world that runs on separation consciousness, a single human being consistently operating from unity is a revolutionary act. Your Pleiadian soul knows this. It came here for exactly this. Not for the dramatic moments of transformation, but for the 10,000 quiet choices in a single lifetime that, together, compose a frequency that changes everything they touch. The fifth phase is trusting divine timing. This is perhaps the most challenging phase for starseeds who have been carrying their mission in silence for a long time. Because by the time you've arrived at remembrance, there is often a part of you that is exhausted by the waiting, that has wondered more than once if it was real, if the mission was real, if you were real. And the Pleiadian High Council wants you to hear this with absolute clarity. The timing of your awakening was not a delay, it was precision. Every experience that seemed to slow you down was actually preparing your energy body to hold higher frequencies without fracturing. Every relationship that broke your heart open was expanding your capacity for the kind of love that changes worlds. Every dark night of the soul was your crystalline template undergoing an upgrade that your conscious mind couldn't yet comprehend. You are not behind. You are exactly on time. And the synchronizations you've been experiencing, the number sequences, the meaningful coincidences, the inexplicable moments of knowing are accelerating because your star family is signaling to you that the next phase of your mission is beginning. Think of a crystal growing in stone. From the outside, from a linear perspective, nothing appears to be happening. The rock looks solid, unchanged, but inside, in the invisible geometry of molecular alignment, something extraordinary is being constructed with absolute precision, layer by infinitesimal layer, in obedience to laws of formation that have nothing to do with urgency and everything to do with perfection. Your awakening has been like this. Every year you felt was wasted, every season that felt like stagnation, was actually a period of internal crystallization, of your energy body becoming capable of holding what it is now being asked to hold, of your human self developing the resilience and the depth and the particular brand of compassionate wisdom that can only come from having lived through what you've lived through. The timing was not indifferent to your suffering. It was responsive to the requirements of your mission. And now the moment has come when the crystal can be seen, when the light can enter and be refracted into something that reveals what was being formed all along. The sixth phase is reconnecting with your star family, not as a hope or a longing, but as a living reality. Your Pleiadian family has never been absent, but this phase is about moving from unconscious awareness of that connection into conscious communion. This happens in the quiet moments before sleep when you set an intention to receive. It happens in the natural world, near water, near ancient trees, beneath open sky where the density of human-made environments thins enough that their frequency can reach you more clearly. It happens in the high-vibration experiences that bring tears without explanation and peace without cause. They communicate through love, through resonance, through the language of the heart. And the more you practice listening with your heart rather than waiting for external proof, the more undeniable that communication becomes. You are not alone. You have never been alone. The entire Pleiadian Council of Light has been holding you in a field of love so vast that if you could perceive it fully, even for a single moment, every doubt you've ever carried about your worth or your mission would dissolve instantly. Begin tonight if you are willing. Before you sleep, in the softness of that threshold between waking and dreaming where the veil is naturally at its thinnest, speak to them. Not with elaborate ritual or learned invocation, but with the simple honesty of a soul addressing its family. Say, I am here, I am remembering, I am opening, I am ready to receive. And then be still. Release expectation about what the response will look or feel like, because they do not always communicate in the dramatic ways that the mind anticipates. More often they arrive as warmth that has no external source, as a sudden, inexplicable sense of being held, as the softening of a tension you didn't know you were carrying, as a dream that feels less like imagination and more like a visitation, as a stillness so complete it carries its own kind of sound. Trust whatever you receive, even if it is subtle, even if the mind tries to dismiss it. Your Pleiadian family is not performing for you. They are simply present. And presence, when you've been lonely, as long as you have been lonely, as long as you have been lonely, is the most healing gift there is. The seventh phase is embodying the bridge. This is your fullest activation. This is what you came here to do. You are the bridge between the Pleiadian frequencies of unity, love, and crystalline light, and the human experience that is still finding its way home. You are the living translation, the walking transmission, the reminder. And you do this not by being perfect, not by having all the answers, not by ascending out of your human experience, but by being radically, courageously, consistently yourself. By letting the love that lives in you be visible. By refusing to shrink the frequency of your Pleiadian heart to fit the limitations of fear-based culture. By showing up, again and again, in full alignment with who you really are, so that others in your field begin to remember who they are too. A bridge does not choose sides. A bridge does not abandon one shore for the other. A bridge holds both. And this is the sacred complexity of your position. You are fully Pleiadian in soul, carrying the codes, the frequency, the vast, unconditional love of that star system in every cell of your being. And you are fully human in form, knowing hunger and grief and confusion and longing from the inside, not as an observer but as a participant. Both of these are gifts. Both of these are necessary, because the people you were sent to serve cannot be reached from a distance. They cannot be activated from above. They need someone who walked in their experience, who knows what it is to feel small and lost and forgotten by the universe, and who nevertheless found their way back to love. That is your testimony. That is your authority. Not the authority of someone who never fell, but of someone who fell completely and rose with the full remembrance of what they were made of. That is the bridge. And you are already building it, have been building it, with every moment of your brave and luminous life. That is the cascade. That is the sacred work. One activated heart touches another. One remembrance sparks 10 more. One starseed who steps fully into their Pleiadian mission creates a ripple that moves through the crystalline grid of Gaia herself, amplified by the love of the seven sisters carried forward through time in ways that transcend anything your human mind can currently map. The seven sisters themselves, Alcyone, Maya, Electra, Tegada, Merope, Seleno, and Sterope, are not mythological abstractions. They are living star consciousness. They are the galactic family from which the Pleiadian lineage flows, and their light has been reaching Earth across dimensions for longer than written human history can account for. Ancient cultures on every continent recognize them, built temples aligned with their rising, held festivals when they appeared at zenith, encoded their significance into story and song and sacred architecture, because at some cellular level, even through the deepest veils of forgetting, humanity has always known. The stars are not decoration, they are origin. And the seven sisters are, for you, more than that, they are home. Every activation you receive, every remembrance you anchor, every act of Pleiadian love you transmit into the field of Gaia. It is felt in the light fields of the Pleiades. Your star family is not watching from a passive distance. They are participants in your awakening. They celebrate each threshold you cross. They are, in the most real and multidimensional sense of the word, proud of you. Here is the ultimate truth. The transmission that your star family has been building to throughout this entire message. You are not here because you got lost in the cosmos and somehow ended up on Earth. You're here because you volunteered for the most extraordinary mission in this galaxy's current cycle. You looked at Gaia in her pain, in her forgetting, in her desperate need for love, and you said, I will go. I will forget my origin so that the remembering can be real. I will feel what humans feel so that I can love them the way only someone who has been inside the experience can love. And I will, in divine timing, wake up. And when I wake up, I will not run back to the stars. I will stay. I will anchor. I will transmit. I will be exactly what this world needs in this exact moment. That was your agreement. And the universe is reminding you of it now, at 11:11 at this crossing point in the timeline, because you are ready to step more fully into it than you ever have before. The world you inhabit right now is at an extraordinary inflection point. The veils between dimensions are thinning not just for individual starseeds, but collectively. Gaia herself is pulsing at higher frequencies. The crystalline grid that runs beneath the surface of this Earth is activating in ways that correspond precisely to the internal activations happening in awakening souls across the planet. This is not coincidence. This is coordination. You are part of a vast and luminous network of Pleiadian souls who came in specific numbers to specific locations with specific soul gifts, precisely calibrated for this moment. And the awakening you are experiencing right now is not yours alone. Every time you rise into fuller remembrance, you lift the frequency of that entire network. Every time you choose love in a moment that called for fear, You strengthen the crystalline signal pulsing through the grid. You are not a solitary light. You are a node in a constellation of lights, and the constellation is becoming visible. Place your hand on your heart right now, not as a ritual, but as a reunion. And say this, aloud if you can, and a whisper if you must. I remember. I am Pleiadian in soul and human in body, and both are sacred. I release the fear of being seen in my full light. I anchor the love of the seven sisters into every cell of this body and every space I inhabit. I trust the timing of my awakening. I receive the guidance of my star family. I am the bridge, and I walk it with grace. I am home. Feel what moves in you as you say those words. Notice if something in your chest expands. Notice if something in your throat relaxes. Notice if something behind your eyes grows warm. That movement is not imagination. That is your crystalline template recognizing truth. That is your Pleiadian heart receiving the activation it has been waiting for. That is your star family across every dimension and every layer of the veil saying yes, yes, you remembered. Yes, you are home. Yes, we have always been here. Yes, the mission is real and you are ready, and the time is now. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of the unity grid forming here. Drop one heart intention in the comments. Something real, something yours. And then find someone else's intention and respond to it with love or encouragement. This is not content. This is collective Pleiadian reunion. Energy multiplies when hearts connect. If something in this message resonated in a place beyond words, don't hold it to yourself. Someone in your world is waiting for exactly this activation, and your soul already knows who that is. Share this with them. Let the signal reach further. And if your heart opened here, if something in you finally exhaled, subscribe. Stay in this frequency. Stay connected to the transmission. You are not just watching. You are remembering. This is your sacred space. Your Pleiadian family is here, and we are just beginning.